me, Access Leadership is an opportunity to develop our mission in our community. To me, it means the reason I've come into healthcare in the first place.
It means that I have an obligation to be active in the community across a broad range of issues that impact the care for those individuals who are poor and vulnerable.
I think that it takes having a vision for healthcare that leaves no one behind. It means that you have to have good communication and persuasion skills, and that you have to be a collaborative leader.
The skill sets that I think you need to be an Access leader have to do with a willingness to learn, a willingness to experiment, probably a willingness to fail.
I think that the model of Access Leadership is powerful in that what it does is it really causes you to think about and work on access in sort of everything that you do.
In a country as rich as this one, the fact that we have so many people who are uninsured and who do not have access to health care, it is a travesty. And to be part of an organization like Ascension Health, who is trying to make access available to all people, it's an exciting component of the work.
I see Ascension Health stepping up and saying, we are not only going to provide direct resources to those in need, but we are also going to provide resources to advocate for those in need and to further promote programs that are important to providing ongoing and sustainable services in the future for populations that are underserved.
I think it's important to all of us, just as human beings and parts of our community, to make sure we respond to a real human need that exists, which is people that don't have access to health care, something that they need.
We have to, as an organization, really press upon access because of the basic principle of social justice. It is one where individuals, through no fault of their own, find themselves without the ability to get health care. And so we really need to be able to use our strength as an organization and really our leverages within those communities to talk to people in those communities to see what additional resources can be brought to bear.
Our mission is to care for those in our community, especially those that are the most vulnerable. And when we see the vulnerable growing in numbers and their needs growing, how can it not be important to you as a health facility CEO?
The way we've organized the work for ourselves internally is I chose to take an approach of forming a task force with a small group of executives and managers who had two qualities. The first was they had to be passionate about 100% access and that issue, and they've demonstrated that to me and to others. And the second is that by virtue of their position and their duties, they would lend themselves to a variety of 100% access services.
Our plan for access will be shared by our executive leadership team as well as our board because it's part and parcel of our call to action, healthcare that leaves no one behind. And for us to be successful and achieve the goals that we're targeted to reach, we need everyone's involvement.
This is a job that's so big that all 5,500 people who work at Columbia St. Mary's have to have some role in making this happen. And so as we put together our plans and our incentive payment plans for our management, work in this area is a piece that we're looking at as a measure and we'll use to help drive what they do.
This is not a CEO project. This is a St. Vincent's Medical Center project, led by myself and our senior leadership as role models, but it's all of us that are going to make it work.
Knowing that this is a very competitive community, there are three health centers, there are three big hospital centers that compete. We're trying to make sure that we don't compete around the care of the poor.
None of the healthcare providers down here are fighting for their share of the uninsured market. So what we're trying to do is come up with a plan that equitably and fairly distributes the burden to everybody that can help so that one organization isn't bankrupt trying to carry their share.
As we developed our plan, we looked at programs that were in place that we could enhance, and we looked at programs that would be necessary to put in place to help achieve our goals.
We're now assembling a small number of models that we think might work in our community, and then selecting the one model that we think would be best suited to our needs.
There's no question we have to operate within our budgets, and we have to meet our revenue projections and be good stewards of resources. And yet, the needs in the community far exceed any resources we have available. So the challenge becomes, how do you bring those resources to a community in need without necessarily having to do it all yourself?
It's got to be an effort that tries to turn over every stone that you can to find resources that can be deployed in the interest of caring for the poor and vulnerable.
One of the keystones of our program to date, our Health Key program, has been our ability to develop on the front end very good targets of measures of outcomes. So going into the next phase of our Access Leadership program, we expect to do have the same type of foresight in terms of identifying key milestones and sound outcome measures. So we know the progress that we're making on this journey, and we're able to tell our story.
Involvement of the rest of the community is critical, because this is not something that one provider or one group of physicians can solve. It really takes a community-wide effort.
Having clients consistently go to a primary care home and have continuity of care within a particular provider, I think that will show that we've been successful.
It's about using the dollars you have now in a smarter way. So for instance, if you spend $100 today and it gets you this much care, really the objective is to do this in a smart way so that that same $100 next year, instead of doing 50 people, can do 100 people.
To really solve this problem, I believe that you have to have funding through the legislature, or funding that comes through the community through a taxing system, and that's really where we're trying to head in this community.
It sounds very daunting from the beginning, but if you have the right support structure, if you can bring the right partners into play, it really can happen, and it's an amazing thing to see the success.
What I want to see us do, and what we're beginning to do, is to view this as one of our strategic initiatives, one of our strategic imperatives. So it's not simply feeling good about doing a few good things, but recognizing that central to our mission and central to our future is an ability to make a difference in this area. Because if we can't do that, then we're just another healthcare provider in this community. And so we view this as a key niche for us, as a defining mission.
You have a vision to commit yourself long-term to a community, and you work with others in a collaborative way and look at what is possible, what can we do together.
We have got to begin the journey at the local community level to solve this problem, and I believe that by solving it in a select number of communities and then by radiating out into the other ministries within Ascension, I think we can begin that journey.
And it is a tremendous blessing to have professionally and personally, to be able to use your education, your skills and abilities to help those. You know, to whom much is given, much is expected, and I think that's a big part of what Ascension Health is.
Sometimes you have to lose so that you can win. It is about saying, I'll give on this because it's important for me as an organization to do that, because I know in the end I get capital with that I can then leverage so that we can all win.
You've got to be passionate about this issue, you've got to be tenacious, and we are, and we're going to be successful.